Welcome, everyone. We'll be starting in just a few moments, right at the top of the hour. Hang on, here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing here at Espavo TV for January, brand new year. We've been working with this super consciousness series, which is incredible. What it really did, it started with channeling, so we had some channeling courses, but it showed the practicality of everything and it doesn't have to necessarily be nearly as mysterious as we think. Well, this month in January, we're going to extend that outside of the human realm for the first time. We're going to be working with animal communication. Now, we know some of you are not animal people, you don't have domesticated pets, but we'll tell you it's much larger than that, because we're going to be working with the entire animal kingdom, which balances the human kingdom many more ways than we think. Now, there's a lot of changes going on there as well. You might have known that before COVID-19, we actually predicted that there would be a lot of people leaving, and that actually they would be preceded by many, many billions of animals that would be dying. Well, that happened. It not only happened with COVID-19 with the humans, but it happened with the animal kingdom as well, having to do largely with things that were going on in Australia. So we're going to work with that, and we're going to balance these two kingdoms together to be able to feel that and connect with that. And we hope to give you some new tools about living life a little more comfortably here on planet Earth. So we're going to be working on January 6th and January 13th, and you can buy those 2 days just for $77, or you can come join us for Lightmaster, which not only gets those 2 days, but gets 3 more days specifically to work in very focused areas and tremendous empowerment areas. Lightmaster is a very select group of light workers which are changing this world one heart at a time. Come join us, everybody. Espavo. Thank you for taking your power. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. We've got quite a show in store for you here today. I'm looking forward to it a lot. But first, let's try the karma checker, shall we? Let's see how we're doing today. Oh, I did pretty good today. That was like 4 or 5 there. So pretty good. I'll eat those later. Don't want to fall too much into sugar shock. If I don't do really well with that, then what happens is I have to do a really good channel, is what it is, and then I get rewarded later. So, or stick my hand under it again, one of the two. Anyway, welcome today. I'm glad you're with us here. We've got so much going on. I want to tell you a little bit of what's taking place here at Espavo right now, so we can kind of fill you in on a few things. Many of you may know that we just started doing private sessions. I want to thank you all for your incredible response there. I mentioned it last month on the show, and I sent out probably only about 25 emails, and they filled up instantly. Within a half hour, most of the ones that I had put up there were filled up. I put up 3 more days, and they filled up very quickly. So thank you for your incredible response. I'm going to make these available probably 3 to 4 days a month. And what I'll do is if you're interested, I'll show you this in just a minute too, but if you're interested in having one of those sessions, the best thing to do is to go to sessions.org and leave me your email, leave me your name so I can, here it is here. So you can leave me your name and I will let you know as soon as I put them up. Generally, I'm going to put them up around the beginning of the month, but you can just send, this puts you on the waiting list is what it does. And what I'll do is I just send it out to the whole list when I put up the new ones, and we'll try to get as many as possible. And I do try to do some early in the morning here in Las Vegas, because I know many of you are in different parts of the world. In fact, out of the 12 sessions I've done already, I only have done 1 in the United States. We're talking about Australia, we're talking about Malaysia, we're talking about Russia. We're talking about all these different places that I've been able to connect with people. So this is very exciting. I also have some new technology coming that I will probably talk about next month that is actually going to allow us to interpret into your language. Okay? We got a lot of bugs to work out still, but I'm very excited about it, and it looks like it's going to work for us. So we're going to have actually a caption that will actually be interpreted into your language if you're outside of the United States and would prefer it in your language rather than in English. So we will be making that available coming very soon too. Thank you all for being with us here today. We got a lot going on. I will tell you, Sandy Sedgebear will not be here today. She has a lot going on herself. She's got a couple of emergencies in the family that she had to be with. So that's one of the things that we'll be working with. Jim Self is with us here. He'll be the first up here today too, with a live connection. So in the meantime, let me tell you kind of what's going on. Number one, I woke up this morning and, this is actually going to be part of a new segment. We're going to call this one the Good News segment. We're going to call it Good News for the New Game. And every month, I'm going to try and bring you a little bit of the good news, because we all need the good news, don't we? We used to do this as part of the Lightmaster group, and it was a lot of fun. It was one of my favorite segments. So anyway, the good news, this morning I woke up, it was cold out there. I live in Las Vegas in the desert, and it does get cold here, not very often, but when it does get cold, it freezes. Now I happen to have a 52-year-old night blooming jasmine, right? And it's 52 years old because I have to cover it every winter. And I just happened to get the nudge to go out and cover it the other day before it froze. And then this morning I woke up and it was freezing everywhere. I also talked to Belgium, and they have snow on the ground this morning. So we've seen a lot of things going on that are just very exciting. We're switching a whole new energy. And that's actually what the group's second channel is going to be about today. I'll tell you right now, normally I do these channels live. Sometimes they tell me what they're going to be talking about. Sometimes they don't. And the second channel is focused really on something, because after we produce it and after I have it transcribed and edited so that people can actually read it, I usually come up with a title. Well, this time they gave me the title first. This one's called the Espavo Awakening. I'll just leave it at that. We'll talk about it later. I don't know who's coming in to deliver it. Usually Observer will come in to deliver it, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's the fun things that are going on here. But I did want to mention the temperature change, because we got the solstice coming up on the 21st. That is a huge part that has been celebrated for centuries. And 4 days later, we start changing into the new light. In other words, the solstice is the darkest day of the year. And from that point forward, after 4 days of the darkness, we start moving into light, which is actually Christmas, but it was even celebrated long before Christ came along. The 25th was always celebrated as a very special, unique day. So we're all going to celebrate it here too. No matter what your belief system is and no matter what you're at, we have the new light coming in. So keep that in mind. It's a critical time, and maybe Allison will tell us a little bit about that when she brings in the astrology report today. Now, one other thing that's taking place that I want to bring up to you is that we are having solar flares. Yes. I don't know if you're familiar with what the group said about them. They said this year was predicted that the solar flares would continue to decrease. They started the season, which started about a year ago, and they started the whole cycle of cycle 23. They started it very good, but then they kind of died off. But the last week or two, we have been getting solar flare after solar flare after solar flare. Now, most of these are in the medium range. So there's different ranges that they put. The big ones are called X class, which are extreme, and they all go by numbers. Well, most of these are very comfortable. They're in the medium class, or they're M2.1, they're M4.1. I think the highest I've seen the last 2 weeks is M6.5. So they're in this range where they're not going to disturb our electronics or any other things on Earth, but they're bringing all those neutrinos to Earth, which is something the group said to watch for. That will help us as we go forward quite a bit. So anyway, that's a wonderful thing to celebrate. There's places where you can actually go, spaceweather.com. You can actually sign up for a list. I think they charge $4.95 a month now for the list, but they email you every time we have a solar flare and tell you not only just the solar flares, but even the sunspots, which happened before the solar flares. So anyway, it's a very exciting time to be on Earth. I'm glad you're here with me. Thank you all for being here as part of the family. One other big piece that I want to celebrate, because the group said, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. The other day, it was announced that they have discovered fusion energy. We've had the atomic power plants for some time, but the atomic power plants work on a system that basically splits the atom, very much like an atomic bomb. Very difficult to control, very precise, has to have all this safety equipment, and of course is very challenging. And the waste from that product is very difficult to get rid of. The half-life of these things is in the tens of thousands of years. So it's very difficult to deal with that. However, fusion energy is different. Fusion energy allows us to take the same energy from the atom but bring it out slowly and safely. It was discovered quite a few years ago, but not able to be reproduced. It was discovered by accident, and since that time, everybody has been trying to figure out ways to make fusion work. Well, they finally did it, and it's happened. It hit the news. This is a game changer on planet Earth. It is going to take some time. Currently, the news is talking about 15 years before it actually turns into generation plants. The group says, no way. All eyes are going to be on this now. We're going to see how fast this can come about safely and comfortably. But it's not going to be 15 years. But we are moving toward sustainable electric energy. And that is just absolutely incredible, a big game changer, and something to celebrate here on planet Earth. Well done, guys. Well done, everyone. Nice job. Okay, that's it for that section, for the good news section. Just want to bring you up on a couple things going on here with us here at Espavo. I will tell you, the server went down probably about 2 hours ago. Really amazing what's going on with all the things. We are under attack on the internet in general, not just us. Everybody's under attack. Things are changing very rapidly, but we're also getting good at safety. We're also learning quite a few things. Not only did our site go down, but the entire server farm that we are on went down. So it's back. It came back very quickly. And as I've mentioned to you all before, we're actually working on a duplicate site in another part of the world. And what will happen is if we have challenges, we're going to switch you over to that one very quickly. You won't even know the difference. So it's a dream of mine. And now we have a volunteer who's going to help us help us create that and make that work. He's come to us from Israel. So we'll be hearing more about that a little bit later. Well, hopefully you won't even need to know about it, because it simply means that no matter what happens in different parts of the world, we'll be able to be here for you and to connect with you. Also, yesterday, oh my God, yesterday we had a Lightmaster class. I'm channeling Ilra, and I am cracking up inside, trying to keep from laughing on the outside, because it was just absolutely hilarious. Ilra came in. Ilra is the entity that works with rhythm. And he came in and told us all sorts of new aspects of rhythm that he's never released before. Told us some of the keys about how people can visit planet Earth. And we see these spaceships that can do all sorts of things. They all have to do with rhythm. And he's talking about changing rhythms and shifting. And then he showed quite a few things with the drums and how to work with that. But I was so excited about that because it's all new information. And he brought it in yesterday. It was just an incredible class. Lightmaster, by the way, is open to everyone at any time. We no longer start it at one point in the year. We start it every single month. If you join in the month, you're going to get all 4 classes. The classes that we advertise, the next 2 focus days of Lightmaster, or you can buy separately, are going to be on animal communication. We'll play a little ad. We played it just before we came live. We'll play it again here just before I do the channel so you can know what that's going to be. But that's 2 days, 2 Fridays, the first 2 Fridays of the month. The other Fridays are Lightmaster. And plus they get an extra day anywhere where they can ask live questions, be able to get answers. We're also exchanging a music list, which is really kind of cool. Steve's music has always been back in the 60s and 70s, and I'm being introduced into all this new music, incredible music out there. So we're actually going to share it on a Spotify list. If you're in Lightmaster, you're going to get that list, and furthermore, you can write in your favorite music to me, and we'll play it. Well, I can't play it live, but I can share it to you on a Spotify list. So we're going to be doing that as well. Also, Spotify is now carrying us as a video podcast. So you'll see this, not right now, it doesn't go live, although we are live on YouTube. Hi guys, glad you're here with us this month. We are live on Spotify as well. We're going to be video, but we're also going to be audio on almost any place where you can normally find a podcast. So you will be able to have that as available as well. Thanks, Carol, you do a marvelous job with that. One of our staff members is opening up the whole podcast world to us. So thank you for that awesome job. One other quick note, and then I'll get on with it. We have the phone app. We had a phone app that's made just for that. It was the Espavo phone app. We're gonna eliminate that. I'll tell you right now. You all know we've been having reshifting. We've had money problems. We've had everything, just like most people on planet Earth. And because of that, we've had to pay almost $1,500 a year for the phone app, of which only about 6 of you have used it. So if you are one of those 6, please excuse us, because we're going to eliminate the phone app, at least for now, till we can find a little better place to host it, a little better opportunity to work with it. But it is going away. The Espavo phone app will go dead probably in the next week or so. We'll have to see where that is. But anyway, if you're one of those 6 people, please accept our apologies. You can also go right to any of your browsers on your phone. We'll also get to the Espavo. You'll be able to pull up the entire site, because our system that we work with also makes everything available for your cell phone. So we don't have to do any conversions or anything of that nature, but we are eliminating the phone app. All right, guys, thanks for being with me here. I'm really excited about today. The group is excited to bring everybody together for today. So we're very honored that you're with us here, and very, very thrilled that we're all here together. I'm going to do the first channel from the group, and then we're going to bring in our good friend Jim Self, who's here from Mastering Alchemy. He's got some information for us as well. We'll kind of talk back and forth. He is live today, so we'll put him on hold for right now as we do a quick channel from the group. Thanks, guys, for being with us. All right. Well, I did save my 1 cup of coffee for today. The group got on me for drinking coffee because it takes 36.9 gallons of water to make this 1 cup. And since water is going to be a problem almost immediately on planet Earth, it's actually a problem right now. I'm being very selfish. It is one of my addictions, so I'm going to hang on to it for right now, but here's to you. All right, and with that, I'm going to bring this over for just a second, and I will be right back with you. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I'm thrilled to join you this day, for you are turning a corner on Earth. Yes, there will be some who don't make the turn, but the reality is you all have an incredible opportunity coming ahead. Ilra will be coming in a little bit later for the second channel, and he will tell you much more about it. But there's some exciting news coming for everyone on planet Earth. So welcome home to all the light workers, for you have made much of this possible by holding this energy in your heart, coming together. Whether you teach it, whether you read it, whether you bring it in or take it out, makes no difference. You've been holding the light, and the light is now starting to shine on planet Earth in a new way. It's very magical for us to watch from this side of the veil. And we could not be prouder of the work that you are all doing. Yes, we know many of you are in distress. Many of you don't know where you're coming from. And although we can tell you what's coming in the long distance, some of you are more concerned about the next step than what's taking place in the long run. Well, we tell you those two things are starting to come together. Even many of the predictions that we have made are starting to take place. Let us start first with a prediction that we started several years ago, almost 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. We mentioned that there would be many people leaving the planet en masse, and that those souls were needed on the other side of the veil to help you make the transition we're talking about today. It's an incredible place, an opportunity. Now, that has taken place. This is what you had called COVID-19. And when COVID-19 came in, we also made another prediction that it would be 3 to 5 years before you could get your arms around this one. You're celebrating the 3rd anniversary of it right now. We'll see how you do with this, because it's not important, and your spirituality is not actually measured by what is taking place with the disease. But we'll also tell you that you're doing really well, and that even though this could be considered to be an extreme negative, it has served a purpose. It began first with the fires in Australia, where almost 1 billion animals left the planet in one weekend. Absolutely incredible. Well, those spirits were needed on the other side of the veil for that level. And that was working as well too. But because of that, we're also going to be working with animal communication this next month to be able to work with you, to help you to connect with that part of yourselves. Yes, all of it blends together. You're all connected in ways that we can only intimate with you. We can only give you hints about. But it's important that you discover them yourselves, that you understand where you're going and take these steps consciously. Because, dear ones, you're going to hear this over and over again, especially today. You are conscious creators, walking behind a veil of forgetfulness. And yet, everything that you can balance between your heart and your head becomes manifest in your world. Well done, dear ones. Well done, light workers of planet Earth. You are magicians far beyond your understanding, and that is working incredibly well. So right now, we're going to put this entire process today into a time bubble so that those people watching this later on can be a part of the energy in the same way that you are that were watching it live. And right now, we're going to form a healing circle. We'll invite you to bring anything to the healing circle that you wish to change, whether it be an emotion, whether it be scar tissue, whether it be physical. All of it can be manifest, you can manifest health in this way. So take a deep breath, everyone, and just find your center. As you release the thoughts of the day, let it all go. If you wish, let your eyes close naturally, comfortably. As you start connecting your heart chakras one to the other, you'll feel it every time you hit a new stream of heart connection. It brings a big smile to your face. Excellent. So take a breath. Beautiful. And for those who wish to step forward into the healing circle, do so now. We have created a giant circle, a circle of heart energy. And for those of you standing on the outside of the circle, open your hearts and your minds in this moment. For when you perceive a miracle is created. It's time. It's time to bring everyone to their highest vibration possible. Not necessarily that you need to do anything, but you deserve to feel good. You deserve to be well. You deserve every aspect of planet Earth that can bring you good and joy. And we wish to beam that to you right now. So those of you on the inside of the circle, open your hearts and allow us to send that energy through you. Take a deep breath and feel it in this moment. Well done. Well done, dear ones. You are magic in ways that you cannot see, You are creator beings. And that starts by taking responsibility for yourself, for that is the first level of creation. Ilra will speak of the second level and the second tool, but I will give you the first tool. The first tool is to take responsibility where you are. Yes, some of you are in dire need at this very moment. Take responsibility for that. Know that in some way you have not only created it, but you have something to gain from it. The moment you gain anything from it, it shifts and becomes different and starts to work in other ways. You can start to create new energies and a new space. So we invite you all to take responsibility for where you are at this moment. The good, the bad, and yes, the ugly, all of it is absolutely incredible energy of humans pretending to be spirits. Well done, dear ones. Well done. Take a breath and feel the light moving through you. Well done. Excellent. And with that, we're going to leave you for the time being. Ilra will come in just a few moments and later in the broadcast here and bring you the rest of today's message, which is full of hope. Your dreams are happening right now. It's beginning. As the new light dawns on planet Earth, you're going to see more than you ever expected. There's a couple of opportunities that are coming at the end of March and also in the middle of August of this next year. Watch for it. Be ready. And so it is. And with that, we leave you for right now as we continue bringing you these other light workers that have things to share for you. It is with the greatest of honor. We ask you to treat each other with respect, nurture one another at every opportunity, and play well together. Espavo, dear ones, Espavo. I am observer. And I do like to watch Espavo. Thank you. And we're ready to bring in Jim. Jim Self's a dear friend. We've done a lot of work together. We have created some magical seminars together. In fact, one of the last times that we were together was a 12-12-12. It was a huge shift of energy. And something like we're looking at this next year. There's some incredible things coming, so we're very honored to bring back and welcome Jim. Jim, are you with us?
I am, Steve. Nice to be here with you. It's delightful.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an incredible time to be here with you, and I know that your work has created some magic with Mastering Alchemy. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
It has. Mastering Alchemy is growing and expanding, and as you know, Mastering Alchemy is all about tools, skills, and enhanced ability. And one of the things that Observer was just saying is this word responsibility. Take responsibility. But some people get stuck in that. I don't know how to be responsible. I don't know what to do. But responsibility, if you kind of flip the word, it's the ability to respond quite often.
Oh, I like that.
And one of the things that's really important about what's happening is this sense of personal power, this sense of personal ownership. And where we're moving right now is just extraordinary. There's let's call it a division, not a separation, a division. It's as if one element of us, those playing in the heart to a great extent, are kind of moving into kind of what we refer to as a fifth dimensional state of well-being. And there are many on the planet that are in survival, arguing for status quo and lack, and aren't taking responsibility for the circumstance. Now, responsibility doesn't mean I did it bad, I'm guilty, I blame myself. Responsibility is really an ownership, a seniority. And one of the other things I noticed, and Observer just said this very clearly, it's choosing between the heart and the head. And when you start to understand what that means, it's really, we have a tendency to think without responsibility. We react, we throw energy, we have a thought and we automatically pull a emotion to it quite often. I see something and that makes me really angry. We don't manage the thought and choose the emotion or feeling. We simply react. And this space, this solstice time that's coming, one of the aspects that's really fascinating, and I hear all of those that you work with speak to it often. It's as if, in our language, we're going to just call it a raising octave. It's a it's a gap, it's a jump, it's a leap from where we've been to what's possible. But one of the key words that makes that all happen, one of the key emotions or key feelings, it's a feeling, is this concept of seniority. This is who I am. I'm senior in my space. That doesn't mean old. It's just, this is who I am.
Good. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, yeah, both of us are understanding that more. But it's a sense of this seniority allows for choice. And one of the things that I watch lots of our students and people playing in the trying to transition, spiritual people wanting to live from their heart, it's they don't have a sense of paying attention sometimes. And that paying attention space is so often a definition, and you and I played here many times in the past, is where do I start and I stop? And there really is no place to start and stop, but that concept of the edge of your aura and being able to create a line of delineation that allows everything on from the edge of the aura to the heart is me, and everything on the other side is Shakespeare's theater to entertain me.
Oh, that's interesting.
And once that concept is just considered, and once it's played with, it's a really simple game to play. Just create a line right here, and this is me, and that's everything else. You begin to realize that an enormous amount of what you think and what you believe, what you feel, has nothing to do with you at all. It's not even yours. It's all the energy of others. And once that begins to happen, that ability to start to choose begins to be powerful. So what the observer is saying, beginning to think from the heart, you could change, you could make it really simple. It's a feeling. And if you put a feeling into a word, what you also realize is a lot of people walk around and they define themselves as I am uncertain, I am scared, I am not capable, I'm not smart. I am. And that's kind of the vibration of the feeling. But one of the games we play, which is consistent with many of the group's conversations, is when I start to feel happy or I start to feel certain. You know, we play a game, I say, have you ever been certain? You know what certain is? And people go, oh yeah, I know what it is. And then you say, well, close your eyes, take a breath, sit back, and feel certain. Very different experience. And so when you start to feel from the heart, the ability to choose and define how you navigate, how you play in the ability to respond, begins to be something that you choose on your terms with respect to everybody else and their well-being also. So,
very magical. Well, you were the one that originally introduced me to the concept of your head being electrical and your heart being magnetic. And of course, it's in electromagnetics, it's really a spiral. If you measure it one way, it's electricity, and the other way, it's magnetism. And I have used that ever since. The group loves that analogy. It's been working out really well. You've brought a lot to that.
Yeah. And you know, there's another piece of that in kind of walking around everyday space. We look at the concept of time, and it's past, present, future, and you die. That's it. There's nothing to it. But that's not correct. Time has multiple configurations. But just to the point of electrical and magnetism, if you look at a sine wave, a wave that just goes like this, and you turn it 90 degrees, what you see is a spiral moving in direction. And one of the other concepts is time and space move through you. You don't move through time and space. And so it's constantly passing through. So when a person get quiet, present, and aware on my side of the delineation, the whole movie begins to shift, and the ability to be responsible for yourself and the ability to respond on your behalf becomes a choice of the feeling that I'm holding, that I'm engaging with what's right in front of me.
Incredible.
The thing is, it's so ridiculously simple, but simple isn't easy sometimes.
That's exactly what Ilra was saying that yesterday. Ilra said, you know, we have to complicate things just enough for you humans to understand. So I absolutely understand that one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me, what do you see? What do you see coming in the immediate future? I mean, we all have this opportunity to step up that looks like it's incredible from my perspective.
Yeah, these electromagnetic frequencies that you were just talking about a minute ago, the Earth is changing, the solar system, everything's changing, but you are really changing. That magnetic emotional feeling space that we have is changing. And one of the little simple things people say all the time, what's the difference between an emotion and a feeling? And this is not a truth, but it's a great barometer. Emotions have edges. I'm angry, frustration, judgment, resentment. There's an edge.
Oh, I like that.
Gratitude, appreciation, well-being, laughter, happy, respect, dignity, and on, no edges. And
That's
so
incredible.
as a point of observation, a place to pay attention is, how am I feeling? Do I have an edge? If I have an edge, I'm in an emotion. And the other thing that's a little more conversation required than here is the rational mind is all about keeping you safe and having you fit in. Well, for a lot of us, it's done a great job, except I don't want to fit in. I'm not from this planet. I don't understand all this. And so that fitting in gets in the way because I'm in the box and I'm playing by the rules. And it doesn't feel good. So one of the things that is really exciting is this octave that's been introduced over the last about 18 months is a ability to begin to put your attention into a vibrational field of joy, of well-being, of ease. This word ease is really deep. It's not just take it easy. And when you bring your attention to that, something happens. It's as if you step into a whole nother room. And again, going back to responsibility, I'm being responsible for myself. You start to find that there's an ease, a lightness, a buoyancy. And this will sound odd, but there's a shift in gravity, magnetic field. But gravity is expanding in definition. So gravity, if you get happy, it's like a buoyancy. Have you ever been in the ocean and a wave comes in, it just lifts you up and then puts you back down? It's like, wow, that was nice. That's this octave. It's loosening up the ability of a lot of the rigidness. I'm not okay. How many times have you said to yourself over your lifetime, I'm not okay, I'm not smart, I don't get it? Well, that's an electromagnetic field, and you begin to wrap this emotion or the thought, I'm not okay, with the emotion. It doesn't feel good, I'm not safe, I don't deserve. And you keep wrapping this electromagnetic field to where you believe you're not okay.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And then we try to figure out what happened and where did we go wrong. And,
Yes,
and the more
yes.
we focus on that, the more we create the problem sometimes too. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and that's really simple. Have you ever answered the question, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And you never will. And the reason is, if you keep it really simple, growing up, you came in really excited, bubbly, all over the place, little kid, and everybody said, stop and no and don't, and settle down, stop making up those stories. What's wrong with you? And so if you think about it in a simple way, somebody handed you a gift. It could be mom, dad, teacher, minister, but here, you're not okay. And we accept it and we say, what did I do wrong? And you've never answered the question. You never will answer the question. It's impossible to be not okay, but we work really hard at it.
Yeah, we really do. That's amazing. Well, my friend, it's been a pleasure. I wish I had more time to spend with you here today, But you and I are going to do something together. I can tell you right now, we got some work that we're going to end up working with together. I'll keep everybody abreast of how
Yeah.
that manifests and where that goes.
Well, if we can even approach what we enjoyed together in 2010 and 11 and 12,
Yep,
we will have a wonderful time recreating ourselves.
that's true. That sounds better. Thank you, my friend. You can find more about Jim at masteringalchemy.com. Check him out. He's got some incredible courses. He and Roxanne do an awesome job. And best of the holiday wishes to you and Roxanne, my friend.
And to you and all your friends,
Thank you.
blessings, blessings.
Thanks for being with us here today.
Yep.
Espavo. All right. And with that, we've got quite a show for you today. So I'll bring in the next part, which happens to be the person who missed last month because she had a little bit of a computer meltdown. But Meg Adamson is here with us today to bring us a new piece all about the inner brain and some of the fabulous things that she's working with. I can't tell you too much about it because I haven't watched this segment yet, but she just made it. You sent it over to us. So we'll bring Meg in now. Espavo, everybody.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you on the GlobalLight broadcast, the last one for the year. I'm sorry I wasn't with you last month. I had to take a visit to Dr. Apple and get a whole new operating system for my iMac. And I thought that was kind of interesting at the end of the year as we move from one year into the next, as we cross that threshold into the new year. A new operating system, kind of metaphoric about the projection of our new selves, our upgraded selves for next year. And I don't know how much time we spend considering that projection, like I talked about last month, where believing is seeing versus seeing first in order to believe. We've got that creation process backwards, and we always project from that main point of attraction, from what our subconscious mind holds as dominant. And normally, because nobody had a perfect upbringing, no matter how perfect your life was or your childhood was, we all at some point before the age of 7, when that part of our brain begins to mature, we have experiences that we don't have an adult rational mind that can separate ourselves out from the experience and say it was the experience that caused an emotion. Instead, we make it personal. So it becomes, I'm not good enough, or I'm not safe, or I'm not loved. So everybody has some form of negative dominant programming that we have to get in and unravel and create positive, because that point of attraction is what is projected forward, and also all input, right? All conscious mind activity, all data association with how you view the world is weighed against that. Well, the ancients, before crossing into the threshold of the new year after the winter solstice, would commune with nature, because they knew that their survival depended intrinsically upon their relationship with nature. So they would sit under the wise oak tree and wait for the wisdom to drop in. Well, that's putting yourself in a trance state and accessing the super conscious intelligence and trusting that information that you receive. Would it be a harsh winter? Would it be a long winter? Would they need to gather and store more food? How could they best prepare so that they would survive the winter? And now it's interesting because more and more we are turning around and embracing more alternative understanding of things. We have science now working to validate some of this type of current day wisdom. And what I mean by that is science is now showing, especially those who are mapping the brain, are showing that we, by the time we're 35, are just walking on autopilot. We've already made our decisions. We have our opinions. We have our perceptions of the world. And we continue to project that out in front of us and attract that back. But we tell ourselves a current day story of why that happens. And you can see how that just creates this loop, almost like Groundhog Day, over and over and over again, experiencing the same things, and then justifying that by saying, well, this just doesn't work out for me. I just make enough money, or businesses don't work for me, or I can't seem to have a relationship that's healthy, or that makes sense, or feels supportive and nurturing. And we justify that with a current day reason. It's politics, it's the economy, it's the world. But if you really break that down, you have everything you need already within you to determine if that dominant programming projects out and attracts back what you actually enjoy. So at any moment in time, as you ponder what's important to you and what you want in the future, you begin to break that unconscious pattern of thoughts and beliefs and inject new positive beliefs. That's how we start to reprogram the conscious mind, by utilizing the skills and abilities of the subconscious mind. But it requires us to have some quiet, to take some space, to sit under the wise oak tree, communing with nature, and ponder what next year will be for us. In essence, looking at the operating system and deciding if we need that upgrade. What's the upgrade look like? Well, that becomes the story you tell yourself. So what are you telling yourself that next year is going to be for you? The ancients believed that we were entering this sacred time. In fact, the 12 days of Christmas actually came from, that was a religious change on converting the ancients into following a certain religion. But the origin of that came from the 12 omens. And every day they would look for a sign from nature that would indicate to them what they needed to do to prepare for next year. So there was that opening up internally and accessing wisdom, and then choosing an action that would follow that wisdom. So following your own inner knowing, but inner knowing that's current and present and aware, versus a lot of information being streamed at us now. Technology is incredible. It allows me to do this, to reach you in your living room, in your space, and have a conversation. But we also need to recognize that it has been designed to meet your every need so that you don't have to ever tune in, go into that trance state, access the superconscious, feel it out for yourself, decide what you want in the future, and then bring that right to you, making adjustments and tweaks along the way. No such thing as failing, only feedback, as opposed to, I'm not good enough, things don't work out for me, I've tried this before, it doesn't work, these absolute statements. So again, I want to ask, what are you telling yourself the next year is going to be like for you? Is it going to be hard? Is the world collapsing around you? Is it going to be uncomfortable? All those things may be coming, but you can thrive and help others to thrive as well if you adjust that dominant programming in the subconscious mind, if you adjust your beliefs around it. Because I want you to start to put this together in a way that's so logical, you can't deny it. So let me ask you, when you go to sleep at night, you don't have to tell your heart to beat, do you? No, subconscious mind takes care of that for you. Its job is to keep you safe, to keep you alive, to move you away from pain and towards pleasure. But that's where things get a little wiggly. In its attempt to move you away from pain, it has memories of where you experienced pain. And so it begins to sabotage you whenever you get close to scenarios where you may experience pain again. So going back to that time before we had that rational adult mind and could really reason with ourselves about experiences and circumstances, the subconscious mind thinks and acts like a fifth grader. So we have to see what our patterns are. We have to become conscious of what we unconsciously believe every day. And we do that by taking that quiet space, by turning off the news, by stepping away from social media and everything that's coming at us, and just tuning in. What do I really believe about next year? What do I want next year? How do I cross this threshold in a space and in a way that allows me to be hopeful and excited and grateful for where I am, but eager about what's coming next? Right? How do we put ourselves in that space? So we have to pay attention. And in the simplicity that we don't have to tell our heart to breathe, or tell our lungs to tell our hearts to beat, or tell our lungs to breathe through the night. I want you to think about it in terms of your day. Do you wake up in the morning and take one deep breath in and hold it for the entire day to make sure you have enough air? Are you afraid that other people around you breathing are going to take all the air from you, that there's not enough air to go around? No, that just seems sort of silly, doesn't it? We just breathe in and out. There's always a supply. There's always enough. And the more that people need, the more that there is. If somebody's jogging versus someone's driving their car, a little less air, a little more air. But we don't check in with each other and make sure that the air that you're taking isn't taking away from my air. We don't believe that, do we? We don't make that association, and yet we make that association with money. We make that association with our own self-inflicted judgments and beliefs about ourselves. Now hear this, because it's easier to say and project that because situations are the way that they are, ours won't work out. Now, does that mean that there is an imbalance in the world? Of course there is. We've all seen that. But what I want you to understand is the more that you fight against that, the more your point of attraction continues to validate that belief and make it true for you. So it all comes back to, what do you believe for yourself next year? What do you want in this next year? Where do you want to grow? What do you want to evolve into? How do you want to serve? How do you want to help? Because in that 180-degree pivot into, this is what I'm good at, this is what I love, this is how I want to share it, whether that's through work, or how you show up in relationships, or how you show up parenting, or how you show up in the world for yourself, feeling happy, hopeful, safe. You have a right intrinsically to those feelings, in the same way that you go to sleep at night and just breathe in and out. Your worth and your value and your capability has nothing to do with how well you breathe at night or your heart beats at night. Your subconscious mind just governs over it. I want you to really get this, because if we take the heightened emotion out of the equation and just allow ourselves to be in the statements of, I'm very grateful for where I am. I'm doing great where I am. I'm learning and tweaking and evolving and changing. And here's all the things that are coming that I want, that I'm so excited about. The subconscious mind only takes instruction. It doesn't judge or analyze. It doesn't have that skill. The conscious mind analyzes. And most of us, science is showing, we spend 90% of our day in the subconscious terrain, analyzing data and weighing it against our dominant negative memories. So what do we yield? We yield that which validates those dominant negative memories, that programming. So as we get into this pattern over and over and over again, our nervous system has a faster and faster response until it's just automatic. I think it, my body responds. I think it, my body responds. And here's the piece. The subconscious mind communicates through our body because that's what it has access to. It governs our autonomic nervous system. So as we start to feel something, we get caught up in the conscious mind, analyzing and justifying by what we see in the world. Yet, what we really need to do is back that up and go back to that internal awareness. It is just your subconscious mind trying to speak to you. First, it sends the emotions, right? We feel something. And if we're not investigating how we're feeling, if we're investigating it only at the conscious level and justifying it by what we see in the world, it doesn't resolve. And so that emotion then evolves. It evolves into a physical response. And then that physical response gets justified, and we believe, hear this, our genes play a dominant role. Well, our genes play a role, but not the role. And epigenetics, the study of our perception of our environment influencing our genealogy, turning on and off our genes, is based on our perception of the environment. So we're back to the conscious mind again. But at the subconscious level, the body response is simply the subconscious mind trying to tell us, hey, I've got beliefs about this that are not in alignment with the superconscious version of who we are. What do you want me to do with this? I have an imbalance. So you want this, but we believe this. And it sends you that communication through how you feel. And then if we don't actually create that balance again, if we don't go in and amend the beliefs that are taking us out of alignment of the superconscious version of who we are, that all that is, we the extension of the divine energy, we all have that belief that, we are in a physical expression, but there's more. There's more to us. There's a higher self, or there's the universe. Whatever your beliefs are about God or the universe or angels, there is more consciousness that we have access to around us that drops in those solutions that seem like they're out of nowhere, but they're not out of nowhere. They are when we are in alignment, and they can get in like an open window. But if they're not, and we're believing something about ourselves that isn't true, then we've got a mismatch. And the subconscious mind is trying to tell us, we've got a mismatch. I need your attention. What do you want me to do with this? And so the emotion then becomes a physical response. And if that physical response, if we don't address the mismatch, becomes an ailment, becomes symptoms, because it governs the body. Is that starting to make sense? So this is an opportunity at a time where I hope you will slow down a little between Christmas and the New Year. I hope that you're not busy all the time. I know it's a busy time of year. Sometimes for some it's a really lonely time of year, but it doesn't have to be either or of those. If you make a commitment to carve some time out for yourself to slow down, to be quiet, to turn off everything, and find where that mismatch is. How has your body been trying to talk to you? That's your subconscious mind. What's it telling you? And what are you telling yourself about what that means? Because that is the most powerful projection for next year that you're making. And it's a time now to make new statements. It's a time now to really investigate what we are believing. And it doesn't mean that the things happened in your past didn't happen. Of course they happened. And we don't give a pass to where things were inappropriate or painful or hurtful. But we begin to understand that only in that holding on to those beliefs are we now the ones hurting ourselves by maintaining those beliefs that I'm not safe, or people aren't nice, or I can't seem to make more money, or things just don't work out for me, and the world is showing me that things just don't work out for me. It's that that's creating the belief and the circumstances now. And it's just because this happened, that's the justification of it. And that is absolutely changeable. That is where the subconscious mind is now at the basis of everyone's studies now that I've been following scientifically. And what's really interesting is, what's propelling it is that there is more and more and more acceptance that we are capable of so much more than we ever believed. In fact, our subconscious mind is more powerful than any artificial intelligence or any computer or any medical device or any medication ever. It governs your body. So the epicenter is in discovering what you believe about yourself. And do you believe that you have the right to be here breathing air? Therefore, you have a right to be meeting your own needs, making enough money, living happily, being in a joyous relationship, connecting with others. You know, I read some statistics that were a little bit sad for me that states that 6 out of 10 people have reported not having a single friend. Not a single friend. So what we believe can be incredibly isolating and create a life that justifies those negative beliefs. And it's time to amend those beliefs. I'm also reading that right now more kids, more millennials are opting out of college. And yet the self-help industry is tracking right now, it's projected to generate $65 billion by 2025 and to 2030. So in the next 7 years, in the next 2 years, they're projecting a $20 billion increase. What does that say? That's saying that millennials don't want to learn from the old ways of our educational system. They are investing in themselves through others who have their skill set and who are showing how they've built their companies, they've built their businesses, they've built their lives, they've built their skill set. So we are hiring each other as mentors and coaches and teachers to learn from people who can actually say, this isn't coming from a book, here's my statements, I can walk my talk, I can back that up, and I'm going to show you how to do it too. This is where the acceptance of so much more, thanks to the development of technology. So everything that you want is out there, whether that's something you want to learn, something that you want to play. And I want you to hear this, that you have that skill set too. That if you have desires of really stepping into doing what you came here to do and not dabbling in it, you recognize that the dabbling is just the self-belief, right? That's the limiting belief, and that's the subconscious mind trying to move us away from pain and towards pleasure. Well, I love it, but I'm not sure if it'll work, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to feel like I failed or that it wasn't meant to be for me, so I'll just do a little and see. And we never quite actually live the way we want to be living. Well, think about the trajectory of the self-help industry that you are in. What is it that you've experienced in your life that you've learned so much from, that you've mastered, that you now can help others move through? And that is what's being supported. We are all beginning to look differently at ourselves, at the world around us, the changes that we can make, how we connect locally. And so I wish you, as we move through this season, some space and some time and some peace and some reflection. If you want to investigate what specifically is in the way for you, if you can't quite see it, because it's difficult to see, it feels like us, then I do believe clinical hypnotherapy is an incredible modality. I am amazed at the results that it yields with clients, and I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you to investigate what it is that you're looking to change, what you want. It's a beautiful time to be giving back to yourself. Your unique skills matter. Your contribution matters. Your happiness is already valued, available, and allowed. It does not matter what you've experienced through your life. It matters what you still believe about those experiences now that are going to determine your happiness, your success, and your thriving going forward. And so I wish you the most wonderful holidays, whether you are with a crowd or whether you are all by yourself. Snuggle in. Tune in with nature. You are never alone. You could not possibly be connected to such an incredible universe that we are a part of. And you are an important part of that universe, and I want you to know that. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me into your hearts, into your homes all year long. Thank you to Steve, especially, for this incredible platform, this show that reaches tens of thousands of people around the globe every month, all free of charge. It's incredible what you do, sir, and I am very honored to be a part of this show. I wish everyone deep peace, beautiful healing. Breathe in and out. Breathe your success and your happiness and your joy, your health and well-being. We need you. Blessings. See you next month in the new year.
Thank you, Meg. That's absolutely incredible to think about all the different things that we do together. Meg pre-records these. We don't talk about what we're going to be talking about, but it all just comes together so magically. It's kind of like we're being guided, maybe. And I love the fact that she brought up epigenetics. Isn't it interesting that we are who we think we are, and becoming more so every day? Now that we know that, maybe we can work on our thoughts a little bit. Kind of the same thing Jim was talking about. Well, okay, awesome. Glad you're here. So what we're going to do here now, I've got Allison coming up in just a couple of minutes to bring us our astrology report coming up for the next year and going forward here. With it's just been one of those incredible days already. But the funny part about this whole thing fitting together like this, Allison had no clue about what we're going to be talking about next month. But the group wanted to work with animal communication, and as part of the Superconscious series that we're in right now. And we've got that all set up for the first 2 days. We'll show you a little ad right after Allison's segment, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Here's Allison Chester Lambert.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Astrology. This is my new kitten who won't put me down, and I'm going to have to... I have already started this video twice, and the crying outside the door was so bad you could hear it on the microphone, so I've had to let her into the room, and now she won't. She's going to lick me. I'm going to get this video done. I'm sure you won't mind if there's a little Cleo cat here whilst I'm trying to talk. Anyway, so welcome to the Astrology for the next few weeks. My name is Alison Chester Lambert, and I'm an astrologer, surprisingly enough. I am. Anyway, I've got my notes here. See, I always have these notes, so when I look down, yes, I'm reading these things. I can't remember it all. Okay, so first thing, I'm recording this on the 15th, I think it is, of December. And the first thing I have to say is actually the next few days, and that's going up to the 19th really, we've got a lot of Chiron activity. And so what that means is that we are delving in to the past. We are looking at things that have wounded us. We are looking at childhood experiences. We are examining our wounds for wisdom, actually. I suppose that would be the way to put it. These are the wounds that make us wise, said an astrologer once, and I think that is probably so true. However, the wisdom comes out of learning and accepting and growing from those happenings, events, or sad things. And that degree of self-development and self-awareness is what takes us into a life where we are older and wiser. I'm hoping that we can gain from the whole experience, because it's helping to put things into a better place, to make us be more relaxed with them, be more peaceful, be more harmonious with the struggles that we've had, because that's why we're here. We're here to have struggles. And then the learning that comes from these struggles is the stuff that makes us wise. So when somebody said there is a pain-gain ratio, they were exactly right. The pain does have a gain, and that is spiritual peacefulness, wisdom. Okay, so that covers that. So then we are moving into the new moon in Capricorn on the 23rd of December. This is very early for this new moon. All new moons occur within a certain range, a 28-day period, and each year it can be a different date within that 28-day period. And this is a very early new moon in Capricorn. In fact, the sun has only just moved into Capricorn when the moon joins it. Now, I would normally say of this new moon in Capricorn that this is a great time for you to make all of your New Year's resolutions, because anything you decide to do on a Capricorn new moon, you are basically taking a chisel and a hammer and you are carving it into stone. This is a zodiac sign which will still be around when the rest of the cosmos has gone into the big crunch. Capricorn will still be there because it is that solid. It is unmovable. It is granite. It's there forever. Anyway, so because of that, I've always said that this sign can give us the grit and the determination to do anything we want. Okay, also on the 23rd, just looking at the range of planets in Capricorn then. So we've got Venus, Mercury and Pluto all sitting across Capricorn, which is a part of the sky around us. This puts an immense pressure into Capricorn. I mean, that is an enormous amount of focus on the highest earth sign. And in actual fact, we will notice this. This will be like going from the fast pace and all the flurry and the excitement and whoa, and rushing around shopping and I forgot this and I've got to do that and busy. Suddenly we'll feel like dump. We've gone from the highest mountain to the deepest valley. And that's not a problem if you're the one doing the Christmas dinner and making all the beds for the relatives and trying to make it look as if your house has always been this pristine. Because you've got something to do, you've got something to work off. However, if you don't have much to do because you're off work and basically you're out having fun, then you probably feel that as if the atmosphere has gone a little flat. And I would at some point put in something during those days afterwards, so the 23rd, 24th, I'd put in something like hard work just for an hour or two a day, just to get rid of this energy and feel like you've achieved something, and then you'll be able to lighten up and feel that's okay now. I can go and have a little sherry with my friends. There we are. At that time, still looking 23rd, 24th, 25th. The only planet we have in fire is Jupiter, and Jupiter is at that point only just moved into Aries. Nothing else is in fire. So what we're missing is the things that fire represents, which is hope, enthusiasm, confidence. Fire, it's all so exciting, isn't it? Fire doesn't stop to ask which piece of coal shall I burn next. It just burns the lot. If the planets aren't in fire signs around us, nothing is exaggerating that fire. And so therefore we feel a little cold without it. We feel a little flat and let down. I would at that point get yourself a kitten from Cyprus, one like this, because this little kitten can light up the darkest night. It's so sweet. Please let me finish my video. Okay, now we're going into obviously the winter solstice. I'm going to talk as if we're in the northern hemisphere. I can't get my head around talking about two hemispheres at once. So we're going into the northern hemisphere. I have been recently attending a series of lectures, university level lectures, on some of the fabulous carvings and art that the Egyptians left us. And there are some people doing some amazing work there. and they are decoding all of the stuff that 150 years of Egyptology has not managed to do. But they're doing it because they're archaeoastronomers and astrologers. So they're using the sky and the patterns in the sky to make sense of the hieroglyphs. And one of the things that is coming out loud and clear is how the Egyptians set the standards and set the beliefs for every religion that came after. Christianity, for instance, is just riddled with Egyptian religious motifs. So the winter solstice is important. The sun is at its extremes, its absolute extreme. Wherever you are in the world, it is at the most point, the farthest point on the horizon that it will go. And what happens is it stands still for 3 days and then it creeps back along the horizon. So you'll see the rising and the setting point change every day. And so we're at one of these extremes before it starts going back. And then you get to the summer solstice and then the rising and setting point changes again. And so it makes quite a journey around us during the year. It was very clear from the information the Egyptians left us that their timing, their religions, everything was thought to be influenced by the sky, that the sky and the sun's path and the moon's path was everything. And therefore, when it comes to the solstice, which is next Wednesday, then we need to reflect on this, the very, very important arrangement of this sun and the earth, and how that gives us the structures for our home here in the galaxy, and really spiritually gives us our spiritual home as well. So it is an important day, and I think you should set aside some time to just light a little fire, the Yule log, as they say, and just have a few thoughts about milestones and journeys and the things that give us the cycles and the reflections of our lives. So that is the solstice, that's right. Now, we have got Mercury. Everybody always wants to know this, right? So Mercury is at the moment going direct, and it does go retrograde from the 29th of December. Please don't panic about this. It's absolutely fine. I'm a Gemini. I'm ruled by Mercury, and I prefer it when Mercury is going retrograde, because it's an excellent opportunity to go over something again. In fact, you're given great opportunity to go into the very fine detail of it and like hold a microscope over it, and you'll see things that you didn't see the first time. So from the 29th, yes, you should sign a contract. What you should do is go over it, check it all out, and sign it there and then, because it's when you're at your most thorough. Now, I know that there's all this myth around, oh, Mercury retrograde breaks everything down and causes it to. It doesn't. We notice it more if we believe in this. I don't believe that Mercury retrograde is responsible for that. I can think of a couple of planets, such as Mars and Uranus, getting together. Oh yeah, they'll cause a lot of disruption. But Mercury, no, it's not. Mercury isn't to do with that sort of thing. It's all about flows of information. Anyway, as I say, it's going over the old ground. So it's an excellent opportunity, more than anything else. So the next time somebody says on Facebook, say you're on Facebook, and somebody goes, oh, sharp intake of breath. Did you get that? Mercury retrograde, looking all kind of confident and I know everything. Then you can go, well, act quite superior and go, I'm afraid actually what it means is it's an excellent time to buy equipment or do things, because you'll look at the small print and you'll do a much more thorough job. So you can mention my name if you like, I don't want a barrage of hate mail though. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough now. Oh, have you settled down now, little Cleo? That's good. Okay, so, well, I'm going to see you next year, right? Next year. Yeah, we're going to meet next year. I love saying that at this time of the year. And I hope you all have a very warm festive period. We've got a very cold blast over the UK at the moment, and it's certainly sort of like making things very cold, and we're all huddled. There you go. So I hope you all have a fabulous time for your holiday season, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. And you know where I am. You can email me, alison@alisonchesterlambert.com. That's not hard, is it? You can find me online. Just, have a little, find me online and just send me something and tell me something and chat stuff. That's nice. Or book a reading. That's even better. I like that because that's what keeps me afloat. That's what pays for all these little kitties to come over from Cyprus and live a life of luxury, isn't it? Every penny I get goes on rescuing more cats and more dogs. Ah, dear, I'll soon have a room full all around me. I love it. Anyway, I keep saying goodbye and I don't go. That's typical Gemini, isn't it? I'm going this time. Bye. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Astrology.
Thanks, Alison. Incredible, the way things blend together here. I'm going to have to take a quick break. We have to reset a little computer here in the system. I think it'll be just fine in a minute, but we will be right back with the final channel from the group. Ilra is coming in. He let me know that, so brace yourself. We'll be back in just a few moments. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing here at Espavo TV for January, a brand new year. We've been working with this super consciousness series, which is incredible. What it really did, it started with channeling, so we had some channeling courses, but it showed the practicality of everything, and it doesn't have to necessarily be nearly as mysterious as we think. Well, this month in January, we're going to extend that outside of the human realm for the first time. We're going to be working with animal communication. Now, we know some of you are not animal people, you don't have domesticated pets, but we'll tell you it's much larger than that because we're going to be working with the entire animal kingdom, which balances the human kingdom many more ways than we think. Now, there's a lot of changes going on there as well. You might have known that before COVID-19, we actually predicted that there would be a lot of people leaving and that actually they would be preceded by many, many billions of animals that would be dying. Well, that happened. It not only happened with COVID-19 with the humans, but it happened with the animal kingdom as well, having to do largely with things that were going on in Australia. So we're going to work with that, and we're going to balance these two kingdoms together to be able to feel that and connect with that. And we hope to give you some new tools about living life a little more comfortably here on planet Earth. So we're going to be working on January 6th and January 13th, and you can buy those 2 days just for $77, or you can come join us for Lightmaster, which not only gets those 2 days, but gets 3 more days specifically to work in very focused areas and tremendous empowerment areas. Lightmaster is a very select group of light workers which are changing this world one heart at a time. Come join us, everybody. Espavo. Thank you for taking your power. I need just a couple more minutes before I'm able to come back with the group, so give me just that and we'll be right back. I'll play this again. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing here at Espavo TV for January, a brand new year. We've been working with this super consciousness series, which is incredible. What it really did, it started with channeling, so we had some channeling courses, but it showed the practicality of everything, and it doesn't have to necessarily be nearly as mysterious as we think. Well, this month in January, we're going to extend that outside of the human realm for the first time. We're going to be working with animal communication. Now, we know some of you are not animal people, you don't have domesticated pets, but we'll tell you it's much larger than that, because we're going to be working with the entire animal kingdom, which balances the human kingdom many more ways than we think. Now, there's a lot of changes going on there as well. You might have known that before COVID-19, we actually predicted that there would be a lot of people leaving, and that actually they would be preceded by many, many billions of animals that would be dying. Well, that happened. It not only happened with COVID-19 with the humans, but it happened with the animal kingdom as well, having to do largely with things that were going on in Australia. So we're going to work with that, and we're going to balance these two kingdoms together to be able to feel that and connect with that. And we hope to give you some new tools about living life a little more comfortably here on planet Earth. So we're going to be working on January 6th and January 13th, and you can buy those 2 days just for $77, or you can come join us for Lightmaster, which not only gets those 2 days, but gets 3 more days specifically to work in very focused areas and tremendous empowerment areas. Lightmaster is a very select group of light workers which are changing this world one heart at a time. Come join us, everybody. Espavo. Thank you for taking your power. Okay, we're back. Thank you all for being patient there. We had a little glitch on things. Never happens around here. More than once or twice a day. Anyway, I'm going to settle back down. We're going to do the final channel from the group and bring that to you. I'm just a little bit high here. There we go. my last sip of coffee. I saved the very last piece. I think I did, yeah. Here's to you. And with that, I'm going to put you over here for just a second. I'll be right back with the group. Espavo, everyone. Well, can I come off now? Well, greetings, everybody. I'm Ilra, Ilra of Rhythmic Service, at your service, tool. Glad to be with you here today. Well, I've come in for a couple of different reasons. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit at this critical time on planet Earth. You see, things are moving at the speed of love, which is a little bit faster than the speed of light. And you know how difficult that one is now, don't you? Well, we tell you, your heart energy moves at incredible paces now, and you're doing some wonderful things. So let us tell you a little bit of what's right in front of you and the next few steps. But this next year has the opportunities for some pretty massive changes. Now, we know humans don't do change very well. You like to fight, you like to argue, you like to hold things exactly the same and stay right where you were so you don't have to change. Well, guess what? Everybody's changing. It's the next level up. Many of you talked about it. You've seen it from different levels. There's a couple of different places that you're going to be working with. One's coming up at the end of March. The other one's coming up at the middle part of August of this next year. Is it an exact date? Well, we're not going to play that game with you right now because it's not critical to do that. What's critical is your effort right now to start aligning yourself to be responsible, because you see, when when the observer came in a little earlier, he gave you the first tool. The first tool is about taking responsibility for where you are, for who you are, and also take some pride in that. Will you please? Pride is awesome. It basically gives you the opportunity to love yourself. Now, what happens when you doubt yourself? Well, you see, that's what we want to talk to you about, because you're creator beings, and you create everything that you can balance between your head and your heart. If you can balance those two, it manifests in your world all around you, and happens pretty quick now these days. Well, the time lag used to be pretty slow. It used to be pretty slow. It was a kind of a safeguard for humans. It actually meant that the human race could survive, because every time you had a negative thought, you'd create it instantly. But the time lag allowed you to think about it. And your thoughts would come out here, and they'd turn around and look at you, and they go, are you sure? And you go, yes, I'm sure. And they'd come down a little further and check again and go, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And they'd come all the way down to the bottom and go, are you sure? We're about to manifest. And you go, well, maybe we ought to change a little bit. And it's got to start all over again. Well, now what happens? Boom! Instantaneous manifestation. Well, at least very quick in your time, because you got to deal with time. We don't deal with time here at home. You understand that, don't you? It's an illusion. It's a part of your game, but it's part of what you have to deal with. So with that, know that this happens very fast now. So it becomes important for you not to necessarily train your brain only to have certain thoughts. You see, you're part of a collective consciousness, and those thoughts are floating all up here around the top of you all the time. And what happens is, every thought that he's ever had in his brain, you have had at one point in your life. Whether you know it or not. It's a big circle all around. That's how you're all tied together as one. So you all share the stream of thoughts. You have them at different times and so forth. We love to watch your patent offices, because it's fascinating. You come up with a brand new idea and you take it to the patent office and you find out that somebody just patented it the day before. And 5 more people show up the day after. It's amazing, because it was dropped into the collective consciousness of humanity, and everybody got it at once. Well, there's more to that now too, because you see, you've got negative thoughts up here too. So the idea is, are you going to just ignore those negative thoughts? No, they're part of your communication. And in truth, there's beauty in the darkness. You've got to keep that in mind. You've got light, you've got dark, you've got all this energy, but you wouldn't even see the light if it weren't for the darkness. And if you think we're wrong about that, just read some of the beautiful poetry by Edgar Allan Poe. Some of the other dark poets that have been here. Absolutely amazing. Have you ever listened to the music of Leonard Cohen? Oh, very dark energy, but beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It gives you the contrast. So there's beauty in the darkness. Do not fear it, because the fear is what creates the problem. Ah, that's the interesting part. So what if you see this beautiful dark thought coming across the top? Do you grab it? Well, you grab it as long as it resonates with you. And you can turn it into something beautiful. You can turn it into a piece of beauty the same way he did, in the same way things like that work. But we tell you, you can also just let it go. You'll still have it. You'll still have the negative thoughts. It's not that you're training your brain not to have negative thoughts. It's that you're training your brain to go, oh, that's a beautiful thought. I think I'll feel that, and then I'll let it on go. But grab the ones that empower you and integrate them into your heart. Integrate them into who you truly are. That's where the magic is. Now, with that, there's an important part of this. And as we mentioned, Observer gave you the first tool. We're going to talk about the second tool. And we've talked about this before. It's no secret. But it's really helpful to remember as you step into this new world, the new game that you're starting to play. And that's discernment. Discernment's one of the key elements on planet Earth for creators pretending to be human. What is discernment? Well, discernment's easy. We're going to take his new book. He's got a brand new book out. We gave that to him. So let's say you've got a brand new book, not this one. We'll show you why. But anyway, you open it up, you start reading, you go, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. Oh, this is so beautiful. You read a couple along, you read a little further, and you go, oh wow, this is magical. And then you come back in a few days, and you're pretty much through the book, and you go, I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe. Well, we'll see. And you read a little further on, and pretty soon you come to the back and you go, oh, this book is terrible. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't like this book at all. And you put the book down. Discernment allows you to keep the first chapters that meant so much to you without judging the whole thing. Now, that's not easy for humans to do, but it's a key element of what's coming. Now, as we've mentioned to you, you've got a lot of belief systems. Belief system simply means if you believe this over here, it means you believe all these other things that are attached to it. That's a belief system, and we clearly call that BS for a lot of reasons. Now, if you're able to take just those pieces that resonate with you and leave all the rest of the systems alone, now you're stepping into the new energy. Now you've got a tool of empowerment. That's pretty grand indeed. And that's one of the most important things that's going forward here. Is to know you've got all these belief systems on the planet, and they're fine. There's nothing, as long as you're gaining from them. And if not, take just the pieces that are yours. Because those other pieces were put there for someone else, not for you. You get the idea? It's pretty magical once you get the hang of it, and then you start discerning everything. You start discerning your food. You start discerning your music. You start discerning all the things that you put into your being to pretend to be a human. And what's coming is pretty magical. We've mentioned it before, but it means you've got to step out of some of the limiting belief systems in order to step into the higher vibrations of the new planet Earth. You're getting close. You're getting very close. Are there problems ahead? Of course there are. You could call planet Earth a problem place because it's a place where you work through all this stuff. But you're creator beings. Don't ever forget that. And everything that you start to manifest, it shows up in your world. Now, if you're not happy with where you are at this moment, if you're not happy with what you've created around you, the first thing you do is take responsibility for it. Go, oh, boy, I got myself into that mess, didn't I? Now I got to see what I got to do to get out of it and move forward. But once you take it in, you even have a little laugh over it. Oh, we know some humans take life way too seriously. You got to laugh once in a while. It's a language of angels, you know. You got to be able to play the game and have fun skipping down the road as well. All of it's part of the new energy. You're so much closer than you think. If you can just imagine that this whole thing is a game, and what you're doing is you got this little player piece here. We take one of these M&Ms that the keeper got. But you got this little player piece that you're moving around the game board. What happens if you're not happy with it? Well, just get rid of it, and you're just change the piece. Now we're in trouble. We have this internal conversation that goes on during these channels. The keeper talks to me and I talk back. Well, he just yelled at me. That's okay. I wasn't supposed to eat anything, but that's fine. Nonetheless, you can change your thoughts by changing who you are in this moment. You wear something we call a bodysuit. We're going to be talking a lot about the bodysuit coming forward. It's not a bad thing. You have to do it to house your spirit on planet Earth. We're not talking about the physical body. We're talking about the bodysuit that you make up. Now, the bodysuit you make up has everything in it that you think you want everyone else to see. Ah, interesting. You can call it a lot of different things. But in reality, all your belief systems are in that bodysuit. So what if you had a clear bodysuit? Now, you can't always have clear bodysuits because you can't have perfection on planet Earth. It just simply doesn't work. So you divide up your perfection in different ways and you try to become as perfect as you can. But it's actually that little imperfection that creates the beauty that you call beauty on planet Earth. Everything you see that you consider beautiful is perfectly imperfect. It's the perfect imperfection of light. And that's you. That's where you're at. So own it. Be the best perfect imperfection that you can be. Dare to pat yourself on the back. Oh, that was a great imperfection. I like that one. Can't quite do that. I can do it at home, but he can't do it with his body anyway. So while you're playing the game of pretending to be the human, you've got to remember it's a game. Now we know Some of you say, oh, it can't be a game. It's so serious. So many people get hurt and everything else. Well, some of that's by contract. Some of it's by choice. And if you understand that you're choosing everything from the higher perspective, you'll start choosing a little bit different. So if you're not happy where you're at, dare to choose again. Choose, see what belief systems you have that are holding in that bodysuit that are only filtering out the pieces that can come to you that are negative. Because that happens all the time. There's so many of them. It's absolutely amazing. Your thoughts about abundance. Oh, the thoughts about abundance are amazing because you've always considered that to be spiritual, you cannot be abundant. Well, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. That's BS as well, too. But the reality is, lose those things. If they're not feeding you and they're not performing for you, find another. Dare to choose again, because that's your gift. Now, how do you choose? How do you connect the track? That's discernment. That's the second tool of the higher vibrations of life. To learn to find those pieces that resonate with you and then have them grow. Plant them deep inside you so you can play the game of pretending to be a human and have fun for a change. Isn't it about time? It is time. You've already got that deep within you. All you got to do to bring all some of these out is to connect to each other. No one person has all the answers, but if you hold hands, guess what? You got access to all the answers pretty quick. And that's the piece that happens many times in this part. You know, one of the earlier people here, Meg, she was doing this beautiful thing about, and talking about people that don't have any friends. What a sad situation. You've got friends. You've got tons of friends on the other side of the veil. They're watching over your shoulder all the time. Now, can you reflect that here in your world? Can you create that? Only if you step out. Only if you're not afraid of the bodysuit. If you can find a bodysuit that's open, that's gentle, that's warming, that has something to offer other people. Now, interesting. Let's say the bodysuit's out here and your spirit's right here. Well, the interesting part is the part between this and the part between this is not only where you hold all your belief systems, but it's where all lies are created. You're only lying about things because you want people to see something that you may not be, something that you want to be, but you may not be there yet. What if you just took it off and said, you know, I don't care. Just go ahead and see my heart. I'm okay. I'm who I am. I'm here. You know, you just got to be, you got to have the Popeye voice deep inside you. Popeye was a character that used to mutter under his breath. And he'd say all these wonderful things, and then he'd mutter his truth under his breath. He'd go, oh, and be able to say something like that. The idea is just let him see you. It's not afraid. No one's perfect. No one has to be perfect. You just have to be you. And that's not always easy. But your spirit knows the way home. The more that you can breathe and let the spirit come through the physical body, the more the bodysuit becomes clear. And you start acting as the spirit. Now you've got a clear path ahead. And that's what we're asking you to do as you step forward into this next world. The next part of it is beginning right away. You're magical beings, each and every one of you. If you can only see yourself from the way that we see you from this side of the veil, you start to understand a little more about how we see you so much. You know, we start these sessions all the time. We start the keeper calls them channels. We start the channels all the time with, oh, you're doing so well, you're just doing magical. And some of you have the little Popeye voice that goes, not doing well for me. Well, you've just created your energy. Which one do you think you listen to the most? The one that's speaking out loud or the one that's muttering under your breath? Ah, interesting. You know, the keeper years ago, used to take these classes that would tell him all this stuff about, you know, you want to be a better person. You got to look yourself in the mirror and you got to read this every day. I am beautiful. I'm marvelous. I'm magical. I'm creative. All these wonderful things. But then you come along with a Popeye voice and you go, this is bullshit. Well, guess what happens? You listen to the Popeye voice instead of the other one. Become aware. Become aware of what you're creating. A time lag is going really fast now. It's almost instantaneous. So when you become aware of where your thoughts are, you can start to shift them a little bit. Which direction do you shift them? How do you know where the best ones are? Just remember the discernment. Grab the first pieces that resonate with your heart and leave the rest because it was meant for someone else. You don't have to pick up every crystal on your path, just the ones that resonate with you. Dear ones, it has been my greatest honor to be allowed to speak to you in these ways. You see, you're magical beings, and all we're trying to do is reflect your magic to help you understand that you've created it all, including the belief systems. Take every part of everything that you love. Make it magical. Own it. Let it be part of you and part of your bodysuit. Part of what you walk around with every day. And you'll find the magic starting to happen a whole bunch of ways. You're magical beings, and we love you much more than you could possibly ever understand. You are the incarnation of light in physical form. And you're magic, every single one of you. You're stepping forward now. Right now, into these days, just a few days, you're about to experience the darkest times on planet Earth. And we mean that by the way of the sun. The sun has a very limited time on the planet right now, especially during the solstice. Once that turns, you start moving toward the light again. Breathe that in. Allow yourself to be part of that magic. And you'll find a lot of things taking place. And you'll find a lot of new rhythms taking place all around you. Find those that resonate with you, that match your heart chakra, and you'll be dancing in the light. It's with the greatest of honor that I ask you to treat each other with respect of the highest nature. Open those doors for each other. Nurture one another every chance you get, and play well together as you choose a new little game board piece to play with. Choose the highest of light. And remember, the responsibility and discernment are the first two tools in the higher energies of the new planet Earth. Welcome home, everybody. I'm Ilra of Rhythmic Service, at your service, and I love you dearly. Espavo, everyone. This is the Espavo awakening, because Espavo, the word, simply means thank you for taking your power. Do you understand what that means? If everybody just grabbed that for a moment, they'd stop leaning on each other. You'd find out for a time that you didn't need belief systems in the way you thought. You have it all within you. Enjoy the journey, dear ones. Espavo.